So I want to bring in New York Times reporter and MSNBC contributor Jeremy Peters, along with Washington Post opinion writer and MSNBC contributor Dionne, and Hugh Hewitt, also an MSNBC political analyst and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show on the Salem Radio Network. Good to see all of you on a holiday weekend. Jeremy, let me start with you. You wrote in your column this morning on the president's reversals and how these reversals will play out among his supporters. In your words, quote, "While much of the country sees the swerving on policy as another sign of dysfunction, many conservatives shrug it off as esoteric jockeying over foreign alliances, currency manipulation, and economic policy." Is this, Jeremy, just Trump being Trump, or is this what his core supporters have come to expect?
I think you're right, Craig. The Trump being Trump line is something you heard his supporters say over and over throughout the course of the campaign, and they're not changing their mind on that now. They didn't vote for an ideology. They voted for an attitude and a sense that they would have a president who could get things done. They don't really care what the methods are to get things done as long as they see the country heading in a different direction. And they, I think, probably find all of these debates over currency manipulation and the Export-Import Bank to be a little bit far removed from their own pocketbook concerns at home.
Is there a point, Jeremy, at which the president will lose that key support?
I mean, I think that comes if people don't see dramatic improvement in their own lives. Trump came into office promising to, very memorably, make America great again. If his supporters don't feel like their lives are great, then they're not going to support him anymore. I think it's really just as simple as that. I don't think it has anything to do with keeping one promise on labeling China this or that, or backing NATO, or any of these reversals you've seen over the last couple of days. I think it has to do with how their family finances feel and whether or not they feel like the nation is a peaceful and prosperous place. I mean, those are the two most important drivers for the success of any president: peace and prosperity. And if Trump can produce those, he'll do just fine.
EJ, a lot of the rumblings in this White House continue to surround senior strategist Steve Bannon. You wrote this morning with things going badly for his presidency. In your column, you write, he will not take any personal responsibility for what's going wrong. He must find a scapegoat. You insist he's found that scapegoat in Steve Bannon. Walk us through it.
Well, I think that Trump never says that everything that's going wrong is his fault. And so Bannon is the guy he's turning on because he has decided for the time being, persuaded by Jared Kushner, and by the way, never get into a fight with the president's son-in-law, but he's decided that Jared Kushner and some of the other people in the White House who are peddling a much more establishment line are the people he'll go with now. And Bannon didn't get the health care bill through Congress. I think there is a substantive problem here for Trump that goes to part of what did draw some of the support to him in states like Pennsylvania and Michigan. He ran as an economic populist, and what I think a lot of his voters could start hearing, they've already started hearing, is he's totally abandoned his hard line on China. That was central to his campaign. Even the way he pronounced the word China sent a message about how he felt. And now he's let that go. On NAFTA, he used to attack NAFTA over and over again. The proposal they're making to rewrite it is really not radical at all. And so I think this carries a real risk. And while I agree there are some Trump supporters who just believe in Trump the man and will stay with him for a really long time, I think some of those swing voters in working class areas are saying, wait a minute, who is this guy?
Hugh, you always sit so patiently, and sometimes I can actually see what appears to be steam spewing from your ears.
No, it's just the wood working as he thinks, you know?
Hugh Hewitt, you buy that assessment?
Yeah, I'm going to shock you. I agree with a lot of what Jeremy and Jeremy said that we voted for an attitude, not an ideology. He's absolutely right. And EJ is right that there is risk on the China policy in the industrial Midwest where the blue wall crumbled. On the other hand, Gorsuch. A lot of the Republican Party is satisfied by this enormous big win of the first 100 days. There is the response to the Syrian use of sarin and the emphatic renunciation of the passivity of the Obama years in the dropping of the big bomb, the Moab. And so I think President Trump's had a very good week, but EJ is right, and I don't think I've said that very often in my life, but EJ is right that there is no upside in getting opposite of the president's daughter and son-in-law. There's just no upside in that. And so I think we will see some reorganization and reemphasis, but the president's had a very good week, and I'm looking forward to a few more of those before the artificial 100-day deadline appears.
I wanted to call your attention to something, and again, Jeremy, at the risk of discussing something that may be seen as esoteric to a lot of folks, but certainly substantial. The Washington Post reporting, as of about 26 minutes ago, that the Trump administration has decided to discontinue the Obama policy of voluntarily releasing White House visitor logs. They are no longer going to be doing that, citing, quote, grave national security risks and privacy concerns. Hugh, is that something that concerns you?
It's not my idea of a good move at this moment unless it is further explained and explored. I put it in the category of things I haven't been happy with, calling a United States federal judge so-called and calling the press enemies of the state, restricting access to documents that can be produced under the Freedom of Information Act is not smart. If there is a national security reason for leaving someone off, I would simply note that some people have been omitted who've been there for that purpose, and then continue daily releases. I don't think there's upside in this, and coming after a week of big momentum switch on his side, going in his way, I don't know why they do that today.
Hugh Hewitt, thank you. E.J. Dionne. Jeremy, you're nodding your head. You have 10 seconds.
Yeah, I agree with you.
No, I think that's right.
This is a strange day.
This is a strange day. Maybe it's the holiday weekend. Maybe that's
It's got to be that.
A big thank